Guys, you'll never hear me complain about more consumer choice from Omega when they release a new version of the Speedmaster. And when they release something that they're most well known for and their biggest claim to fame as a brand. So let's talk about the new Speedmaster that they just revealed, they unveiled. I think it looks awesome. There's some really nice things about it. And then there's some things that I think are fair to critique and talk about in a negative light. So let's talk about what do I think of the new Speedmaster Cal 321 in stainless steel. It's being released here in the early portion of this year in 2020. This is reference 311.30.40.30.01.001. It is a faithful recreation or modern interpretation of the Generation 3 of the Speedmaster. Some people don't know that the Speedmaster was around before NASA, before the space program. But this one is modeled after the Generation 3 that was used by astronaut Ed White during Project Gemini in the mid-1960s. Ed White was the first American astronaut to perform a spacewalk in microgravity and low Earth orbit. And so he did that with a Generation 3 Speedmaster strapped to his wrist by a fabric strap in 1965, the first American spacewalk. And his Omega chronograph had the Cal 321 movement in it. Not the 1861 or the 1863, the classic 321. And I gotta say, guys, it's so nice to see Omega recreating that caliber with the exact same dimensions, specifications, and appearance. Even though it's not the same alloy material that looks like copper, it is gold-plated, Sedona gold-plated. They did a very nice job at recreating that Cal 321 that's in this watch. So let's talk about dimensions. It will have that 39.7 millimeter diameter, so just shy of 40 millimeter, with the odd lug width size of 19 millimeter. Now the astronauts, when they used these chronographs, they didn't use a bracelet. They used, again, a fabric strap. But I think it's a good thing that Omega is releasing this with a beautiful bracelet that I feel is in complete sync when it comes to the design DNA. It matches very well to the case, and I think it's going to be a nice touch. It's evident that they're taking this iconic design that they're well known for. You know, they're keeping the heart the same with the Cal 321, but they're bringing everything into the modern era with the bulletproof bracelet, fantastic finish work here, and then also other upgrades like a ceramic tachymeter bezel ring, sapphire crystal on the top as well as the bottom, you know, as opposed to a hesselite or acrylic. And then we're going to have a modern formula when it comes to low light luminescence. So what have they done really well here? Well, I kind of touched on this already, but the big selling point is the Cal 321 with the Sedona gold plating of the, you know, the components here of the movement. We have a longer power reserve of 55 hours. And then I love the column wheel chronograph. You know, I like it more than the cam lever system of the 1861 and 1863 modern Lamania-based chronographs. I think it's awesome that they've released this in a steel version. You know, when they first debuted the 321, they did it in a basically $60,000 platinum version of the Speedmaster that had some meteorite subdials. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful, breathtaking release there, but obviously not for the mass market here. More of a high-end collector release edition. So I really like that they're going with a fairly attainable steel version, and they're getting the details right. They're getting the logo right, the font, the spacing, the sizes. They're bringing it into the modern era, again with the bracelet, the ceramics and stuff. But again, it feels very authentic to that mid-1960s Generation 3 of the Speedmaster. Now, what do I not like? Really, it's going to come down to two different things. The first one is going to be their choice of luminescent formula. They're using a version of old radium, which, guys, I'm not an old radium hater by any means. It's just a color. It's a warm color. It's a tan color. I see it no differently than seeing a greenish hue of C3 or Lumibrite from Seiko. But here's where I don't think it quite works with this Speedmaster. You look at this watch and you see the multi-level dial here in black, and you see the stark white handset, the white on the hands on the sub registers, And there's a big amount of contrast. And I think softening it with old radium just doesn't quite go here. I think it would be better suited if this was, BGW9 or C1, where it was all white and natural light. I think that would have meshed a little bit better personally with this white handset. If they went with a polished, rhodium plated handset, I think the tan color of old radium wouldn't be a big deal. But as they did it here, I think there is room for improvement. And then the last thing, let's talk about retail price, $14,100 US when it comes to retail price. And I have no idea if this is gonna sell like hotcakes. I mean, it certainly could. It's a beautiful release with excellent details, but man, 14,000, that is quite a bit, which seems a bit excessive when you're thinking about a non-limited steel version of the Speedmaster, even if it does have the Cal 321 movement in it. And you'll hear people that say, well, when they first released the Cal 321, it was in a $60,000 platinum watch. You don't want to do those buyers a disservice by releasing a super affordable version of it. And then there's going to be R&D costs that are associated at recreating this Cal 321 and scanning the old movement, building it digitally in 3D, and then machining and assembling the pieces, fine-tuning it, all that stuff. I do recognize those points. And I think there are costs associated with coming out with a brand new watch, brand new movement, recreating that, and keeping your original customer happy that purchased that platinum version of the Speedmaster. But that being said, I was expecting a price increase, but I thought it would be sub $10,000. I thought it'd be right around the $8,000 price range. And I think that would have been totally reasonable. But what do I know, right? I'm just moaning and groaning and griping and giving my opinion. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, as watch idiot savants. We're just giving our own opinions and thoughts on what we want to see happen. We're not the decision makers at Omega. So that being said, I think $14,000, I guess it's reasonable, right? It's a beautiful watch. It's still a premium, so you're not doing a big disservice to those that bought the $60,000 version. And those that bought that platinum version, they're probably going to be buying the stainless steel version as well, and will have zero problems in spending $14,000. So is it overpriced? No. As long as there are people that are out there that will buy this, it's not overpriced. We just may think it's overvalued, if that makes sense. So what is my opinion? I love it. I love everything about it except for the old radium selection and the price point. If I were to change anything, if I were to work for Swatch, for Omega, I would try to bring this retail price under $10,000, sell more units, and change that tone of LumiBread. I think that would be a good move. I think it would be foolishly optimistic to think that they would come out with a version that replaces the professional Hesalite or the Sapphire Sandwich at right around that $5,000 to $6,000 price point and expect that with the Cal 321. I think that was just never going to be in the cards, not possible. So what they've done, I think they've done a good job. Could it be better? I think it could. I'm really excited to see one. I hope that I'm able to see one at my authorized dealer, try it on, get some wrist shots, and hey, who knows, if I totally fall in love, I could see owning one of these. I do think it's a beautiful watch. So guys, let me know what you think of the new Speedmaster, the Cal 321, the recent reveal from Omega. Let's talk about it in the comments section. Thanks for watching.